What is going on, everyone? My name's Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video, and today it's a weekly series video that I do, team selection, running through how my team did in the previous game week, then how it's shaping up for the following game week. Obviously we're looking at game week 4 this week. Also talk you through any players that I'm thinking of taking out, thinking of bringing in, or maybe even some that I've already transferred in, even though it is early in the week. It has happened already this season. It could happen going forward as well. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to give it a like, and if you are new around here, subscribe for all the other content that I do every single week on this channel. Otherwise, let's just jump into it. So first of all, let's have a look at how I did in game week 3. 64 points in total. I took a 4-point hit, so a net total of 60 points. My overall rank's now inside the top 100k already, so 97,728. As I usually say around this time of the season, there's not too much to be looked into with overall rank just yet because points are quite similar. There'll be people only just behind me for overall points, and they'll be kind of 100,000 places down. So obviously, this time of the season, basically, the smallest of margins are separating big ranks. So there's still a lot to play for. I'm on 199 overall points, and yeah, still inside the top 100k at this point, I'm pretty happy with. The tale of game week 3 was basically a tale of two halves, and two halves being in my team, the attack and the defence. In defence, got 0 clean sheets. Lundstrom literally came away with 0 points after getting a yellow card and conceding twice. Did bench him for King. I don't usually bench the attacker, but I didn't feel that Bournemouth would get much from Man City, so didn't hurt me too much. King had 2 on the bench. It was frustrating, I'll be honest. I don't usually try and get too annoyed at FPL, but Liverpool, yes, they probably conceded enough chances to not keep a clean sheet, but to concede in the 85th minute to Torreira in the box was frustrating to say the least with the double up. I thought they'd done enough at that point to hold the clean sheet. Lucas Dean, okay, fair enough. Villa did okay, and Everton didn't have enough to stop them scoring or to score themselves. So I think he's got an attack and return and 2 clean sheets in the first 3 games. Nothing wrong with that. Zinchenko as well, super frustrating because Bournemouth didn't have too many chances, and their goal came from a set piece. So Man City is still stopping their opponents from having too many kind of open play attempts. But unfortunately, it's only resulted in 1 clean sheet so far. But I think going forward, the fixtures the Man City have got, there's definitely clean sheets coming. So again, definitely a frustrating one. Not as frustrating as Nick Pope. Following on Twitter, watching the Spurs versus Newcastle game. And I see that Pope's got a clean sheet going into the 90th minute. Excellent. And it comes down to the 95th minute. And Wolves get given a penalty. I've not seen the VAR, so I don't know whether it should have been a penalty or not, but it doesn't matter. It got awarded. And then they concede in the 97th minute. So that was super frustrating to lose the clean sheet. So no clean sheets. Up front in attack, much better. Mason Mount getting on the score sheet. Salah with 2 goals against Arsenal, which was really nice. Sterling captain. I've actually got the captain wrong every single week. 1 blank and 2 decent enough scores, but I've not got the captain right yet, as in I've not captained my highest scoring player, but I'm not too worried about that. I think getting 8 points from Sterling and then double to 16 is still good. As long as you don't get a captain blank every single week, you should be looking pretty good. De Bruyne chipped in with an assist, got a bit lucky, but could have had more attack and return, so really happy with him. And Pukki is just a machine. There's nothing more to say about it. If he's not in your team, I would question why. He's cheap. He's scoring really well. There's no reason why that can't continue. Sure, he's not going to score 5 goals in 3 game weeks, but going forward, he looks like a really, really good option. So let's have a look how the team is shaping up for this week. So looking at the team, I've got a squad value now worth 100.7 million and no money in the bank currently to spend. 1 free transfer I had for this week. And we'll start off with the defence. So again, not going to talk about the goalkeeper too much. I'm pretty happy with Pope. If he got that clean sheet, lost it at the death, that would have been 2 clean sheets in the first 3 games. And bearing in mind Burnley's opening fixtures weren't that great, that would have been really good. But all 4.5 million keepers, I think him, Ryan, Heaton, they're all on 1 clean sheet. And bearing in mind how much time we spent deciding which one to go for pre-season, at this point, they're kind of all on a kind of similar playing field. And I think going forward, Burnley's fixtures do get better soon. After the Liverpool game, so I'm really happy with him. Lucas Digne, not done anything wrong so far. Like I said in the review, 1 attack and return and 2 clean sheets so far. Wolves at home could be a good fixture. I think they're struggling a little bit with European matches to play as well, so that could help Everton. I think going forward, Everton not looking great at all. I don't think Wolves will be troubled too much in defence unless Iwobi, maybe Moise Keane start. We'll have to see. And I think getting a better attack will help Lucas Digne because he is creating a lot of chances still. So I think he looks good and potentially good for a clean sheet because Wolves haven't been smashing home the goals just yet. So Everton at home, I think they've still got a couple of good fixtures up until about game week 6 or 7. And then it'd probably be time to maybe look at getting rid of him. We'll see how he's doing at that point. Double Liverpool defence. I know people will be looking at this team, screaming at me, you should get rid of double Liverpool defence. And I did say last week, if I'd wildcarded, I probably would have done that. But here's how I'm thinking of it right now. it was a mistake to have 2 Liverpool defenders for the last 3 weeks, right? If you had Trent Alexander-Arnold, okay, maybe you've done all right, 2 attacking returns. Van Dijk got his goal, but overall, no clean sheets is not good enough for the money they spent. But you can't do anything about that now. If I can't do anything to recoup those points. They're lost, no clean sheets. So what I've got to look now is they've got Burnley away and then Newcastle at home in the next 2 weeks. Can they get 1 clean sheet from there and maybe some attacking returns? I think most people would agree they could. Burnley's going to be tough. Ashley Barnes is doing really well and Burnley are scoring goals. But Newcastle at home is surely likely to be a tight game, at least from Newcastle's point of view. I don't see them scoring. They scored 1 against Spurs, but I don't think Liverpool are as bad as Spurs in defence. So I think there's one clean sheet coming. And the other thing is, who do I even get rid of them for? I don't think there's any standout defenders that I don't already own. I think I'd really want a Man City defender right now. And you could double up, but I've got 2 attackers for City, so there's no chance of me doing that. I think Zinchenko looks okay right now until he gets rotated out for Mendy. I'm not going to worry about him at all, and I think Brighton at home is a great fixture, and Man City have got good fixtures going forward. But that's basically why I'm keeping my Liverpool defenders, because I think I've lost the points. They've got 2 good fixtures coming up. I'm hoping for at least 1 clean sheet, maybe some attacking returns. I think it would be pretty unlikely for Robertson to keep going without getting some attacking returns. He arguably even deserves it for the amount of balls he's putting in. I know Trent Alexander-Arnold's already 2 assists ahead of him, but Robertson's got some catching up to do, which I think he can do. So I think going forward, you've got to wipe the slate. You've already lost those points. Do they still look good going forward? I think for 2 game weeks they do. And then maybe we reassess again after that point. So midfield is probably the easiest part of my team right now. It's probably the bit that I feel the most comfortable with, that I'm happiest with. I think Salah and Sterling from the off were my 2 captain choices. That's going to continue going forward. I think Sterling gets the captain's armband for the next few weeks, just because he's got the better fixtures, but I'm still not really looking to spend a transfer getting Salah out. Maybe if I wildcarded, I would look at Mane. Obviously, we saw a lot of people wildcard last week get Mane in, and obviously he blanked and Salah did really well. So after 1 week, it looks like a bad move, but that should even out going forward. I think people someone tweeted me today, Joe Prenter, and he basically worked out the points for 2019 so far. Mane is actually slightly ahead of Salah, so it is quite even, but obviously there's only a million difference. And we saw what having penalties can do. Salah took the penalty against Arsenal, the first goal, and obviously that got him rolling and got a 15-point total. So I'm really happy with Salah. I'm not looking to downgrade to Mane, maybe on wildcard, but even then I don't think I would do it. I'd more likely to double up on those 2 eventually than go for Mane instead of Salah. Like I said, Sterling continues as captain. He's done nothing wrong, 5 goals in 3 games. And he's not going to slow up. He's just not going to. We've seen over the last few seasons, he's got slightly more minutes every season, slightly more attack and returns, and I don't see any reason why that won't continue. And De Bruyne has continued to tick over so far as well. And we've seen him easily get 200 points a season. At 9.5 million, he's probably slightly underpriced. I think FPL did that to get people buying in when they were looking at the likes of Mane, Salah and Sterling for obvious reasons. And he's kind of proved his worth. And while Man City have got great fixtures, he's definitely in the side. And he looks like he's going to start most games as well. Bernardo Silva and Mahrez are getting rotated. Obviously, David Silva's missed the game as well. But De Bruyne has been their main man in seasons gone past. So I don't see him missing too many games. But obviously, like any Man City player, they probably will get rotated at some point. And then I'm really happy with Mason Mount. Bringing him in, getting 8 points straight away. The 3 players I brought in last week, Mount, Pukki and De Bruyne, all got points. So I can't be happier than that. Took his goal well. I think he's creating lots of chances. He's having lots of goal attempts as well. He played more on the left at the weekend. Barkley came in because Pedro got injured in the warm-up. He'd probably go back to number 10 if Pedro's fit, or if they decide to play a different winger instead. But if Barkley's going to play, he might shift out more to the left side. But that's where he got his goal. He came inside and took his finish really well. Sheffield United a good fixture. After that, it's Wolves and Liverpool, I believe. So a little bit tougher. But then Chelsea have some nice fixtures. And for his price, 6.2 million, 3 90-minute games now under Lampard. Looks pretty nailed. So I'm really happy with him. Like I said, midfield looks good. Let's talk about forwards and let's talk about transfers. So I have already made my transfer. Last week I did it on Monday when the games are finished. This week I did it on Sunday. And I've got to stop doing it. I don't think it's a good strategy long term, but at the start of the season I can see why people do it. Chasing price rises. If you're absolutely sure that the player you want to bring in is the one you're going to want come Saturday, then I don't see a massive issue with doing an early transfer. The difference with this week is there are midweek games. Now, obviously, you'd expect a lot of the Premier League kind of first 11 to be rotated because it's a League Cup match, so it's probably not as important to most teams. But Barnes could play for Burnley, and if he gets injured, that is going to be a worry. But I've done the move basically because I had 0.2 million in the bank, King was 6.4, and Barnes was 6.6. And Barnes does have Liverpool next, so again, I can see why people are probably screaming at me and going to write in the comments below it was a stupid move. I basically bought in a player that's playing my double defence, so I'm either saying that my double Liverpool defence isn't getting a clean sheet or Barnes is going to blank. But given his underlying stats, his form for 2019 has been brilliant. Ever since I did a video pre-season talking about him and other cheap strikers, and since he came in Game Week 15, his stats have been insane. His expected goals have been right up there with kind of the elite players in the Premier League. And he looks to be continuing that going forward. His underlying stats, I think I said last week, were similar to Pukki's. Obviously, Pukki has scored the extra goal, but Barnes wasn't far behind. So I felt like I had to get him in because I'm probably going to want him after that Liverpool game for that run of fixtures for Burnley. And on my wildcard video as well last week, I had Pukki and Barnes up front. They are the two strikers, I think, going forward that look the best just because of their price. You've got the likes of Haller, who looked good for West Ham at the weekend, but he's more expensive. The likes of Abraham is slightly more expensive. Then you start going up to like Vardy, Wilson, Firmino, etc., and that's a lot more money. So the way I figured it is, I'm going to want Barnes after Liverpool. I couldn't pay any more money. I'd have had to take a hit to get him in. I mean, I could have saved a transfer, but there's just no one else in my team that I want to get rid of right now. I'm really, really happy with the rest of the team. So instead, unless I was going to take out a Liverpool defender before Newcastle at home, which I definitely wouldn't want to do, there was no real way to get the money for Barnes if he's going to go up in price. So I made that move early, even though he's playing Liverpool, because I just think he looks that good. So this is how the team's shaping up. And I got to be honest, I look at it and I think it looks really awesome right now. Things can change very quickly in FPL. A few injuries could happen and suddenly the team looks bad. But I've got the wild card in the back pocket, so I'm taking a bit of a risk with Barnes going early like that. Mount did pick up an injury at the weekend, but I think he's going to be okay. I think it was an impact injury on his calf, so he's probably going to be all right for the weekend. If you've got Martial, it's maybe a little bit trickier because he could be out for longer, but again, we're going to have to wait for the press conferences. So I do not advise making early transfers for the rest of the season. I think the first few game weeks to get a bit of team value when you're maybe a little bit unsure about what strategy you want to do going forward. And especially if you've not used your wild card, I think it's a little bit safer to do it then, because if things go really badly, you've always got that wild card to save you. Obviously, you want to use it when you absolutely need it. You don't want to force yourself into it. But at least that's the justification I'm given for making my transfers early. Just to talk about Pukki, he's in such good form. You don't really need me to say much more. I think he's must-have at the moment, even with Man City at home in Game Week 5. I just think West Ham away should be a good fixture. Norwich and West Ham giving up a lot of chances to the opposition, so they're probably like the Norwich-Chelsea game, there'll be a lot of goals in that one. So that's how the team looks right now. I think it looks pretty nice. There's not too many changes I would make for it unless I had loads of money to do kind of Mount to Martial, but even that, I think Mount versus Sheffield United could be even a better proposition this week. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, leave me a comment below, let me know what you think of my team, let me know what you think of my decision to make an early transfer. Is it stupid? Like I say, long term I don't see myself doing that. I do prefer to wait till Friday to make the decision, but I was pretty happy with Barnes. I think I'm going to want him long term. His underlying stats are good. He's got the form, he's got the fixtures coming up after Liverpool, and there's not really too many reasons not to go for him, so I had to bring him in. And let me know if you've made an early transfer. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you're new around here. Very close to 50,000 subscribers, going to be an awesome thing to hit, so hopefully we'll get there this week. Otherwise, I'll leave it there. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll catch you next time.